Hey everybody, welcome to Find the Funny with Lisa Alvarado. That is me. Today I have a fantastic guest, one of my really good friends and hilarious comedian and writer, Dana Eagle, will be joining us. And for the first time ever, I'm going to be trying to interview her online. So I've never tried this before, so I'm probably going to mess some stuff up. But you guys let me know what you think in the comments. Was it okay in the sound? Because I need to know that. And did I have any pimples? I mean, because the camera is close. So this is part 1 with Dana Eagle. Please enjoy. Let's start from the top. This is my mom, Lisa Alvarado.
Yeah.
Y dice en español.
Bienvenido a encontrar lo gracioso con Lisa Alvarado.
You nailed it.
Okay.
All right. All right. Una vez más.
Yay.
That's my mom getting the chancla out. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Find the Funny with me, Lisa Alvarado. Today, I have a fantastic guest, one of my favorite people in the world. It's my good friend, Dana Eagle. Give it up for Dana. Yay! So today we're going to try, this is for the first time I'm trying a different app because Dana was too lazy to get her ass in the car and come over to my house. No!
So unfair. So unfair.
I know, I'm such an
I
asshole.
was doing a favor.
I know, she's doing me a favor. I'm being a dick.
I had the text messages. It wasn't even the first choice for today. Remember?
That's
I
so true.
on the podcast last night at dinner when someone else was supposed to be doing it.
That's so true.
And then today I think actually she can't do it. Notice you weren't doing anything last night. You want to come fill in?
So Dana's second string.
How many times can we use the word fuck?
I hope a lot. I mean, I don't have a cap. This app might have a cap, which they shouldn't.
Okay.
Because anything technical should never have a cap on using the F.
Fuck no.
So I do these in studio all the time, and I've never done one like this. I've seen them done on see my friends and people posting them on Instagram and different social media platforms, but I am not technically savvy. And even Sarah, who is very technically savvy, couldn't figure out this app. It took us a while. So we're finally getting started. So this is my good friend, Dana Eagle. She is a stand-up comedian, a writer. Actually, okay, so on political stuff, or worldly stuff that happens, do you feel a calling because we have a social platform and because we talk to so many thousands of people when we perform? Because someone just sent me a message on Facebook. It was another comedian that said, hey, you have a big platform on social media. I really think it would be great if you talked about the war going on, spoke truth to that. And I was like, I haven't yet. I haven't posted anything. One, I feel really misinformed. So I don't know enough to talk about it. 2, I don't want to take sides. 3, it's just human suffering that I'm really heartbroken about. And I don't feel like, I don't know what to say. Does that make sense?
Yes, I know exactly, because you want to be thoughtful.
Right.
And it's like, even on things that I know about, I could still stick foot in my mouth. And then you take something that's, gone on for so long, and there's so many people who've tried to address this, and there's so many angles from which to address it. But let me just say, first of all, no one's ever come to me and said, you have such a big social platform. You should talk.
Of course, they told me to wear a bikini while I did it, so maybe that's different.
That's something else that's ever been spoken to me.
Yeah.
I have heard from other comics. I think you've heard me say this too. There's so many things going on in the world. If you're not talking about the real issues, you're just wasting your time. You're just wasting your time up there. And I say, yeah, that might be true, but here's the thing. I was going to just waste time anyway. It's not as though I had anything else going on. It's not like it was between this and Amnesty International. This is all I have. Go.
Right.
But I think
Exactly.
you just have to, kind of what you said, it's like, where's my door, or like, where's my expertise? And it's like, sometimes it's the funny. You happen to, I hope this doesn't bother you. Like, I've always found you're a super compassionate person, really compassionate. And so, like, as soon as you said, like, it's just so much suffering, it just reads as authentic. I do wish that I could do what other political comedians do, but yeah, I think people just read it when it's a front, you know. I have so
Yeah.
many other ways to get canceled.
I felt kind of bad and also a little bit angry that this comic was calling me out to, like, come on, Lisa, step up. And I'm like, you fucking step up, dude. Like, I don't feel called to say something. And sometimes I feel like when people chime in on things, it's to get attention. Not everybody, for sure. Sometimes it's to raise awareness and to explain things, which is fantastic. But I don't like getting on the bandwagon if I don't feel like I have something very legitimate to contribute. Other than, hey, everybody stop being dicks to each other. How about that? Like, just everybody across the board in every country. Just
Right.
stop torturing innocent people, period. Whatever the reason. And so do I need to make a post about that? Maybe, but it was just such a weird thing. I've never had someone go, hey, this is your responsibility as a woman, and women and children are being, murdered and abused. And I'm like, all across the world that happens all the time. I don't know how to address it in a proper way other than maybe having a discussion.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just did when you're like, it's awful. This human suffering is awful. And I think, one thing is, maybe there's also not enough people in the world to listen right now. Like, how about I'm just here to listen? And I guess the other thing is, we've both done those overseas tours.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, yeah, you're taking a lot in and a lot of stuff that doesn't read over the news. And it's, a lot for my precious little head. And in the end, I think you don't have to wade into the issues just to be able to go. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter the conflict or what was accomplished. War is just, violence is just senseless. It's just senseless,
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
And there's enough people that go out to clubs that are like, I don't want to hear it anymore.
Yeah, that's also true.
I'm here to just like go and have fun.
Or like judge someone's heart and their intention in saying it. Like, but they just, people loved cutting up things to a minuscule. Did you say the word pear? I'm allergic to pears. And it's like, did you hear the whole sentence? It's crazy how people just get
you were decorative pears.
I know. They weren't even real.
I think also the truth is, and we know this from these algorithms, and I've heard people say it, about all of these things. Like, a funny joke never does as much as something controversial. And so, yes, it's people, but it's also the algorithm, and they're just trying to pull us in. And I always just feel like, and actually, Jackie Cation has a great thing that she said on one of her albums. She was talking about, she was speaking politically. The end, she's like, just be happy. She's like, that's the best revenge. Don't be happy. But you could be helpful and happy without, living in it. The amount of people, I will say this, the amount of people that called me that week, and we have friends. I feel like I'm asking you to be a wit. Like, yeah, Dana, you have friends. I have friends. And but like sometimes
I'm one of them.
We all just have, people that call and just like, you'll never guess what happened. And like everybody who called me that week was like, okay, I know this isn't Israel Palestine. And I'm like, Stop saying that. It doesn't have to be Israel Palestine for it to be completely legitimate, and you're not there, you know?
Right.
So,
Yep.
but I was like, you think I'm going to think you're an awful person? You're like, I already know
Yeah.
you're an awful person because we're friends.
Exactly. Have you ever had this situation happen on stage when you're performing and you do something, say is edgy, but isn't really edgy, talking to an audience member and they're fine with whatever you said to them. And then someone gets, I call it offended adjacent. So not the person that you're talking to, they don't get offended. They're laughing at whatever you're saying to them and directly for them. And somebody else gets offended for them and they're not even offended. Have you ever had that happen?
Yes. And first of all, I always assure people that I could be way more offensive than whatever it is that I just said.
That's awesome.
And like, I think like my blanket statement for people, I mean, there does come a point where you're doing it long enough where that happens and you are a little bit like, you know, it used to, you know, upset me. And I don't know when the change happened. When we've had this discussion before of like, once you're in stand up for a certain amount of time, like you're no longer suited to be around civilians. And
That's so true.
but I think the thing is that so now what's that thing that kids have? It's like a contrarian disorder and a friend. Yeah, but I forget what it's called, but it's like they're purposefully contrarian. So like I'll get that sometimes now. Like if somebody gets upset, I'm like, it's like candy to me. And I'm like, ooh, now I want to see if I can do something worse.
Yeah.
But when I used to care, I would just sort of say to people, look, I'm not going to dispute the fact that you were offended by what I said. But trust me, you laughed at something that someone else that hit a tender spot for someone else, you know?
Yes.
So, you know, I always just feel like, hey, take the parts that you enjoyed and leave with those and,
yeah,
you know, leave the rest behind.
I wish they could.
Why are people are so stuck on saying like what their issues are.
Right.
And not in an entertaining way like us.
Right, exactly. So this happened, I was recently at a show and I was talking about my dating life and dating apps and, you know, all the mishaps with that. And I was asking the audience, which are the apps that you guys like? And it was really a genuine question. I was like, because maybe I'll try that app. There was a Black couple that chimed up. The guy said something and he's like probably 4 rows back so I can see him clearly. And he yells out, "Farmers only." And immediately I start laughing because I was like, wait, you're a Black man. So you went on Farmers only to find, I'm like, you're bullshitting me. You, a Black man went on Farmers only. And he's like cracking up. He's trying to, I can see he's playing with me. And so because the audience can't see their expression, only we can see their expression unless they turn around and look at them. I knew he was playing, but no one else knew he was playing. So I go, oh, didn't you get the memo? You guys don't have to farm anymore. You're good. Like I said that to a Black man, but I knew he was fucking with me. I knew he was playing. He starts
in
laughing.
on the game.
Yeah, he's like doubled over laughing. And his girlfriend literally hid. She stuck her head down because she didn't want me to like get on her too about saying farmers only. And there was a Black couple in the front row. And this woman and her husband, they were laughing and laughing through my set. And then once I said that, the woman, like her facial and body language changed because she didn't know if he was laughing. The whole audience laughed. And white people don't laugh at a Black joke if they think
they
they're
don't.
maliciously trying to hurt somebody. They actually feel bad, and so they don't laugh. But the guy was doubled over laughing. The whole audience laughed. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw this Black woman, like she looked like upset, but not like really angry. And then all of a sudden, her vibe changed because she was laughing through my whole set. And then I was like, wait, you're adjacent offended. Like, you're not even the person I'm talking to. And he's laughing. Did I do something wrong? Because I know my intent in my heart was just to give him, just like
I don't know
play and have fun.
Yeah, I don't know what the venue was, but I do think that's one of those things, like a venue can sort of, bring up house lights just a little bit, just enough so everyone could see each other and be okay.
Right.
Because I do think that is part of it, is not being able to see the faces around you.
Right.
And then also, the closer you are in front, the more you feel like people are watching you. People in front feel like they're all on stage with you, so they feel like they're audience leaders. But let me just say this. That guy, he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew exactly the door that he was opening, and he was going, come on, go through. Let's see how this goes for you. He was just playing.
Right. And me being one of these comics that kind of goes off the cuff, I love talking to the audience. I just said immediately what I was thinking. Audience was dying. This lady in the front row, she got upset, maybe because she didn't see how well he was taking it and that he set me up. As if Black people can't own farms? Yes, of course they can. But the likelihood of this guy who looked like 24 years old was like working really on a farm. I'm like, dude, you have like gold teeth. Okay, you're not farming. You're not.
Right.
You're like you're
like waxed with a belly, waxed with like a belly ring and nipple.
Yeah, exactly. After maybe 10 minutes, the lady, but I overheard her saying something about a restroom. So I'm thinking she was trying to wait till the end of my set to go to the bathroom. And then she ends up getting up and leaves out of the back exit. And so I was like, she's either really mad or she really has to use the bathroom. And I think if she was really mad, her boyfriend or husband, whoever that man was with her, would have left with her. You're not going to leave an upset woman in a show and let her walk out. You're going to walk out with her if that man is smart, right? So I couldn't tell if she was really that offended by me or if she just had to pee. You know what I mean? And the whole audience watches her walk out, and I felt like shit. The whole rest of my set, I'm trying to close strong, and I'm like, did I offend her? Did she think that I was really saying that? This whole conversation is going on in my head, and I'm like, I got to find her and apologize, or like, that's not what I meant.
Should have just brought some microphone into the bathroom. Ma'am, are you okay?
Yeah.
And also, do you want some extra toilet paper?
Right, exactly. And so later on that night, I felt like shit. Even like the whole audience is laughing. So 99% of everybody loves the show. But the one person, that's who a comedian will go chase down, is the one person that was disappointed or didn't like your show. That's the one person will go, I need your approval. I'm really insecure. Are you sure you don't like me as a comedian?
Yeah.
So later on that night, I was walking around and I saw the guy. And I didn't even recognize him.
Guy?
Yeah, the guy, Farmers Only guy. And he goes, oh my gosh, you're the comedian. You are fantastic. He's like, you really got me. And I go, you're not offended? He goes, no, I was crying, laughing. He said that my girlfriend leaned over to me and said, when you asked the question, she goes, yell out Farmers Only. And he goes, that's why she ducked, because she wanted me like to get embarrassed and get roasted by you. So when I yelled it out, she ducked because she knew I was going to call her out. And I go, so you weren't offended at all? He goes, no, it was so funny how he goes, I didn't know if you'd be able to like get through it. And he's like, you crushed. And I go, did you see the woman get up that I thought was really angry? And he goes, I didn't really notice. So here's me crucifying myself going, I messed up and I really offended another woman. And what did I do? And does this audience think I'm racist and all of these things? And he was fine. He didn't even notice her. And he's the person that would have noticed her because she was like almost right in front of him. And she's like, I'm out of here.
You know what? It makes so much sense now. Of course, it was a woman who set both of you up. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And the other thing, but I feel like that is in that kind of situation, and a lot of situations, it's like when there's kind of like whispering over there or something's happening, and you want to either say stop or you always want to call out the thing that's obvious to everyone, but then you don't know if it's obvious to everyone. And
Right.
maybe they're enjoying what I'm doing, and now I'm just distracting them
Yeah.
about it. And the one I've had a few problems with is somebody goes on their phone in the
Oh, I
middle.
hate that too.
You know,
So do you
I
call it
you
out
know
every time, or what are you doing? How are you handling it?
I don't. I feel like I mean, I think there's been like a couple of times where I'm like, I'm kind of feeling, where I used to go, I'm kind of feeling the same way. If I could, I'm not going to be paid for my spot if I take my phone out in the middle of it.
That's a good
But
way to handle it. I like that.
I think the other thing is like I'm a very antsy person, and yeah, I do try to. I might be giving myself a little more credit, but I do feel like I'm like, go where the smiles are, go where the connection and the engagement is. Don't
That's
everyone's allowed to enjoy themselves in the way that they want to. I mean, I guess the other thing is like, well, we already got your money.
how about when people take their phone out to record you? Do you stop them?
Um, I really do try.
Yeah.
I mean, if if I don't want to do it during the show, yeah, then I'll just say, yeah, I'll just do the like, hey, I'm here right now. You can have the whole experience just now,
Yeah.
and but I'll try. Like, it bothers me if the club isn't aware of it and acts like it's no big deal. I'm like, no, that's a big deal for me. Listen,
Yeah.
I'm barely giving you guys permission to tape me.
Exactly. I know. This is such an honor. I'm pretending like I'm not recording. uh, it's
Yeah,
it's
that's annoying though. Do you tell people to stop taping?
I it's half and half. If I'm just about to close my set and I see a phone, I'm like, I'm not going to ruin my closer and potentially get in a fight with this person. But if they're doing it like closer up to the front of my set, I almost always say something because I feel like there's a lot of time left and they could record a bunch of bits that you're just working on. Or what if I say one word that might be construed as offensive and then all of a sudden they take it out of context and post that about you online? And
I know.
I saw one comedian do it was such a smart thing to do. My buddy, Billy D. Washington, hilarious comedian, very talented. He did a thing where he said, no phones, absolutely no phones and no recording, but I will give you a moment during my set where I will give you permission to record. And my only thing is if you post it on social media, you need to tag me. And then he did something
That's
where
smart.
he said, okay, this is the part where you can get your phones out. So everybody go ahead. But the fact that he gave them permission, it was like 95% of people pulled out their phones. He did something that killed, that he know he was going to nail. And then you
Right.
have 100 people in the audience posting this on social media and then tagging you. So you're enlisting them to do this fantastic social media event for you and not pay them anything. It was so brilliant. I'm like, oh, I got to use this. Never
That's
heard
a
of anybody
genius
else
move.
doing it. Genius move. I was like, oh my God, because I'll do something sometimes where I take pictures with audience members and I say, tag me and I'll repost it. Or I'll take a picture with them on my phone and I go, I'm going to put it on my social media if you want to see it. Then they go to my social media and they see it and they like it or retweet it or whatever.
Right.
And I thought, oh, that's so smart. But this dude, like a video, and you have hundreds of people going, look what I just saw, and this was brilliant. So your best bit, they're all texting it out for you. Unreal.
Genius.
Mind was blown.
Genius. It's not a play. It's not even like a social media posting. we're getting up at bat and we can't. And by the way, I always use sports metaphors and I don't know sports at all enough. But like we're getting up at bat and it's like we can't always bat. Is it 10? I think it's 10. And so it's like we're gonna strike out sometimes, but it's the only kind of way to do it. And yeah, I mean, you just have to be able to say sorry or ugh. Yeah, I don't know. This idea that we're gonna be perfect, all the time is ridiculous.
Do you have any jokes where you
No
love
jokes.
them
No, I do
so
an act without jokes.
Do you have any jokes where you love them and the audience is always a mixed reaction? Because I have one that I've been trying to work out, but do you have any that's like a good example of something that you just keep doing it because you love it and it still gets a mixed reaction?
Oh, I know I do. Okay, wait, you go first because I can't think of mine.
So mine is where I talk about, people are into weird things. Like there's some people that are into like butt play, and I'm not into that. Like I'm not into any of the backdoor stuff because I'm pretty. And that's my joke. And it always gets a mixed reaction because the women are like, well, fuck you, first of all. Like some of them are like, that was just rude because I'm into butt play and I'm ugly. So they're like, this is just true. But I follow that depending on how big of a groan or whatever I get. I follow that with, the women might hate that, but the guys are like, it's pretty accurate. It's true. And then you get another laugh because half of the dudes are, yeah, she's right. She called me out on it. So I had something to kind of save it, but I actually don't mean it in an arrogant way. It's just like, honestly, more factual that you, sounds terrible, right? That you have
You're making
more
it worse
choices
now.
when you're
Perfect.
cute.
It was perfect. Making it worse.
I'm not trying to be arrogant, but it sounds super fucking arrogant. But
it's one of those things where it's like, and that's kind of what you do with the follow-up, where it's like the world just has to equal out in some way, And
I do a ton of self-deprecating stuff. I can have one where I win or like I have the upper hand,
Yeah, and you know what else? It reminds me a little bit of Ellen DeGeneres. Has a joke. I think it's about Trivia Pursuit and saying like how much she hates it, and people clap and she goes, "Oh, I wouldn't do that yet." She's like, because stupid people hate that game.
Yeah.
And so she kind of like warns them and then they kind of laugh at themselves.
Right.
So, but there's, I think after a while, like everything just, it's kind of like part of the game. It's like the Indiana Jones thing. It's like, like you kind of wedge yourself in just to see, to the extent that you can wedge yourself out.
I know there's some comedians that will say offensive things that are seemingly offensive just to see if they can bail themselves back out and get the audience back on their side. I don't really like doing that, but I do like to be a little more honest with how I feel about things. And that's a little bit how I don't know because I haven't done butt play, but like I might be like, this is amazing. I doubt it, but
that's funny.
Why are we talking about butt stuff? Maybe I'm really curious.
That's hilarious, but curious.
But curious. I don't get it. I think that stuff is so different nowadays. Like,
no, but the thing is, to me, like obviously, like on your own, you're attractive, right? But then you also always have like all of the stuff, the accoutrements. Like you don't do this like what I do, where it's like, well, yes, it's going in a scrunchie today, and I'm like, I guess I'll put on lip gloss. So I think with you, the other obvious part of the joke is the fact where it's like, you know, like you did your hair, like you did your hair, you have all of this stuff that like goes on your face, your clothes are ironed, everything's nice. Like the amount more of maintenance that butt play would put into your life, you know?
Oh my
At
gosh.
some point, you have to be able to get you have other things on your to-do list. You can't just all be maintenance all the time.
Yeah. I mean, that would involve bleaching. That would involve like,
There's a lot of prep involved.
that's a lot of prep and
You
butt
can't
play.
just jump
That's
into
what
that.
I've heard. No.
And maybe that's why those women seem so unattractive, is because they're putting all the effort over there.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, let's just
it's like work a little
this is the
harder
drive.
here and you wouldn't need to do the butt play.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that direction so much that I think I might try it on stage because that's the end of the bit.
Typing an invoice right now.
That would be awesome. I don't have Wanda Sykes money, but I could Venmo you like $20 or something.
No, you pick me up some treats already.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That is great.
No, I
love
curious. That is the most fun thing when you know somebody's willing to go to a place that you're not willing to go to.
I
or
love that.
the fact that like they're just able to do, like they're just, you know, smooth and they could get away with it in a way that like I won't. And so
I'm going to try it on stage. It's so good that I love the angle of I concentrate all my energy here. Look at my face. Like the eyelashes are done, the lips, my hair. You should see my asshole. It's like a junkyard back there.
I feel like my work here is done today.
That was awesome.
I love with you, like, I feel like with you and we sort of riff back and forth, I'm suddenly just find myself on things like topics like I would never even consider joking about, or if you said to me, you know, hey, can you help me with this kind of joke? I'd be like, no, it's just not my thing. But, you know, I guess that's also just the difference when, you know, you're friends with people and it just becomes,
Yeah.
and butt stuff just becomes natural.
Exactly. You get a nice, clean shot of the junkyard back there.
Oh, man.
That is awesome.
That's
Okay, because I couldn't figure out that joke. I couldn't figure out, do I just leave it as a one-liner, as like it gets a mixed reaction, or do I try to fix it? Do I try to add something? But that's it. That's the way to go.
And it doesn't just have to be like to me, I feel like that hole is deep. There's a lot of places to go with that.
That hole is deep. That's why I don't try it. It's vast back there.
The junkyard, the bleaching. Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, because I do have another joke about, because I don't understand the whole fascination with it. I really don't. It's like if you're into it, I don't care. But for me, I don't understand why it would be. There's so many things that embarrass me about it. How do you get comfortable? Like, someone's face is in your ass. How do you get comfortable? Like, I don't even understand it. So
I feel like it's just very vulnerable.
Yeah, it's super vulnerable.
Like you could be in a closed room with like, let's say a responsible person, maybe even like a medical professional. And I feel just as vulnerable with like facing down and not having somebody back there as I would like walking through a dark alley at 2 a.m. You know, it's like a toss up. I might take the alley. Because I can circle. The alley I could circle. I could be like, who's there? Who's there? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my butt is like a dark alley. I think that's what makes me so scared about it. That's what I'm going to try on stage. That's how I get out of it.
Oh,
then
my
again,
God.
I circle back to having self-deprecating jokes. See, I give myself one compliment of being cute, and then I circle back to going, okay, my asshole's a mess.
There you go. And of course, I definitely am going to want to see a tape of it if it goes well.
Yeah, exactly.
And I have to see a tape of it if it bombs, because that's my fave.
Oh, of the actual set. I thought you meant of my asshole. I'm like, yeah, of course. I was like,
That
of course,
do it.
Dana.
That feels
for
more
you?
like a bonus track.
Yeah, bonus track. Look at
Bonus
Lisa's
track.
asshole. Oh, you wanted to see the set in the set. Oh, that's different.
That's
And
more
now
like
I'm gonna have to send you an invoice.
that's more like if you sign up to be on my email list, I'll give you that
Yeah.
bonus track.
How did we get on butt stuff for so long? I don't know, but this is a great conversation. Hey everybody, I had so much fun interviewing Dana that we are going to do a part 2. So tune in. You'll see the rest of my interview with Dana Eagle. It's going to be a blast. I will see you guys in 2 weeks.
I hope everybody listens to my daughter and see it and laughing with her because she is very funny.